Let me give a disclaimer. This is not an astrology video, but this is a very, very important video for anyone who has young children. This is an interview which I do with my friend and client Rahul Zaveri, an educationist, a coach, and a career counselor. He has done some really groundbreaking work for young children, and I want my clients to benefit from his expertise. Please watch this video to the end if you want to give a bright career to your children and give them a head start in life.
Namaskar. Today I have a very special friend with me. He's a client, he's a friend, and he is one of the people who are doing a badly needed job of improving the education and career of the youth. So please welcome Rahul Zaveri from rahulzaveri.com, and he is the director of Edu Pathways, and he is doing some really groundbreaking stuff when it comes to education. So welcome, Rahul.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for having me. And very glad I met you. Thanks to the internet and your posts on Quora long back. And thank you for including me as a part of your disciples or people who learn a lot from.
I'm a part of my friends. I don't have disciples.
ये आपका बड़प्पन है, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, Rahul, while I have a lot of friends who are doing some really exciting stuff, आपका काम मुझे सबसे ज्यादा impactful लगता है. And for the record, my children have been analyzed, and one of them is going to join his courses. So, all I've heard of is great things about him, not just good things. Great things about his capabilities and his delivery, and the changes in the children is remarkable. So tell us about your journey. What inspired you to start mentoring and coaching these young people?
Right. So this goes back to 2003 when I started as a verbal faculty for MBA test prep. So typically helping students crack the common entrance test to get into IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Bangalore, IIM Kolkata. Scores at 99 percentile, 99.5 percentile, so that they get the group discussion person interview calls. This age group typically tends to be around 20 to 26, 28 years of age. And as a part of the deliverable, I used to also take group discussions, personal interviews, personality development, case studies, case discussions, how to present them. And for the longest time, I did that. I enjoyed it. I was a full-time faculty with a B school in Bombay in Bandra for about year and a half. After which I joined an edtech company as a content author. In 11 and a half years, I rose through the ranks, became the business head with a team of 39 people reporting to me. So I got sucked on the business side of things, but what I truly enjoyed was coaching, mentoring, counseling students, and then that's where my heart and soul was. So I thought, how can I go back to doing that outside of business, but trying to sustain and maintain the momentum and of course the responsibilities that I have. So decided to go for a PhD in Australia. This was November 2019. We thought of everything, couldn't have thought of COVID. So COVID hit badly, and we had to unfortunately make the difficult decision or a tough decision to make our way back home. So I went with my family. I went with my wife, kid. We went lock, stock, and barrel, closed down everything over here, and went there. The idea was to look at the very long term, but somehow other plans from the universe. So we came back, and that's when I started thinking, what can I do outside of PhD to do that with the students? A lot of students were at home that time. We were in the lockdown. So January 2021 is when I started with Edu Pathways. We are about 4 years done, entering the 5th year. The idea was, I had looked at those 19, 20 to 26, 20-year-olds in their MBA test prep. I had also looked at a lot of employees coming in the organization who were extremely promising on the resume, very good analytical skills, very good left brain skills, but they were not so great at packaging themselves. They were not so great at communication skills or putting the point across in the crispest, the shortest form, in the most thought through format. That was one part of the cohort. Same with people who used to be able to crack the entrance exam, but could not make the cut in group discussions, personal interviews, because that was all about communication, presentation, personality. So the aptitude bit was handled, but the attitude and the personality bit needed to be handled. That was one part of the students. The second part of the students and even employees, so to speak, I saw they come from these phenomenally well exposed university schools and international schools. Great packaging, great communication skills. Uh, but when you scratch the surface beyond level one, level two, and you ask for depth of understanding, the depth was missing. So and these kinds of employees were great when you took their interviews, but when you looked at the kind of work that they did, the kind of content that they produced, the kind of depth of understanding of what work needed to be done, it was sorely lacking a lot of times. So two extremely diverse groups, one great content, not so great packaging, one great packaging, not so great content. And somewhere I felt that if they had been channeled, if they had been exposed to, if they had been told at a young age and mentored rightly in their most formative years, which typically is grade 5 onwards, chances are that their overall development with both content and packaging would have been great. So it would have been the best of both the worlds. So to come back to your question, sir, the journey started way back in 2003, and in the last 4 years, I have done a little bit of reverse integration, gone to 10 to 19-year-old age group, which is where I felt the most impact can be created for the future growth.
Right. So tell us, what are the courses you offer and how do they impact the students? So if I have to recommend somebody who has to join you, what kind of courses should they look forward to and what's the end result? So take your time to walk us through the courses.
Sure. So I run 4 courses currently under the EduPathways banner. One is career counseling, second is leadership coaching, third is personal mentoring, and fourth is mastering English. Career counseling is very clearly to help identify the best match career options for the student. I typically start from grade 8 or 13 years of age, where we can start planning a student's career. Uh, the idea is to help the student go through that entire trajectory, entire journey of understanding what his or her own natural aptitudes, inclinations, interests, personality traits, emotional quotient, work orientation style, value systems, strengths, weaknesses. So we also do a kind of a SWOT analysis of the student and help identify what is the outcome that we are looking at post 12th and potentially post graduation at a master's level. Then we work backwards, saying that if you need to look at these kinds of career tracks post 12th, 1 or 2 or 3 is what we identify. What is it that we need to do in grade 11 and 12? And if you want to do these things in grade 11 and 12, what is it that you need to do in remainder of grade 8 or 9 and 10, so that we segue and move very clearly towards those career goals. So that is career counseling. It's a 6-step process. The first discussion is when the parents come over for a 45-minute to 1 hour conversation. This is more of me understanding the background, subject choices, ambitions, aspirations, hobbies, extracurricular activities with students as well as parents. Then the student takes a detailed psychometric assessment at home. It's a computer-based test. It's a multiple choice question format. There is no preparation required for this. The student simply has to click on radio buttons and give the answers. Once the test is completed, the test generates a report. The algorithm generates a report because the test has also been taken by 2.5 million other students. So a lot of statistical validity of the outcomes of the test that we are looking at. I sit alone with the report for about 1.5 to 2 hours, evaluate the report with respect to what we have discussed in the first meeting, and then structure what could be the best pathways and action plan for the student.
So for the record, my sons have taken it and the findings have been amazing. I, of course, had the shortcut of using astrology, so I knew mota which direction they would take. And your findings were in sync. So thank you for that. And I would very strongly recommend every parent watching this to give that test a chance. Please continue.
Right. So after this particular step where I've done my homework and research, I again sit with the parents in what is the real career counseling session. It is typically about a 2 hour plus session where we granular at a very granular level, we understand what the report suggests. A lot of times I go with the report at face value. Sometimes I tell them keep the report aside. I don't think this is something we should follow. We should do something completely different. So it's like a pathology report that you go to a doctor for. A lot of times the parameters are what the doctor goes by, but sometimes the experience of the doctor is what helps identify what is the best answer. So that is the discretion that I have, and 23 years of experience in the education space helps a little bit in this particular direction.
Mhm.
And then that career counseling session is where we identify and create an action plan for the student. I tell parents a few things which they can do, and access is given to the knowledge hub. There's an online knowledge hub which is available with descriptors of a lot of different careers, their universities, their entrance tests. What does the career entail? After which, there are two more follow-up counseling sessions. Should the parent feel the need to come back, they can always come back later on if they want to validate certain things. They come in touch with some more information, some more data. So that's how it's a battery of a 6 step career counseling session with 4 counseling sessions, completely personalized one-on-one taken by me with the student and the parents. This is the first program. Second program is a year-long program called leadership coaching. This is where the idea is to get the leadership persona of the child out and help the child gain self mastery before going out and leading other people in the world. So we do it in small groups of 3 to 6 students, 3 students minimum because highly interactive, 6 students maximum because we want a lot of personal attention to go to the students. And the idea is that we keep it across different geographies, and that's why it is online. Students learn best when they meet different kinds of students. So critical thinking, goal setting, time management, understanding what is ethicality, what is morality, why are they important from a very young age. Let's say I start from grade 5 for leadership coaching and we go right up to grade 12, and students of a similar age group are together. Um, so the idea is to make them very comfortable with who they are, help them gain that confidence to raise the hand in the college or so in the school when opportunities come, academic, extracurricular, sports, house captain, class monitor, whatever opportunities come, they raise their hands and feel confident to give it a good shot. Feel them, make them feel very comfortable. If people are judging them, it's okay. The people who are judging them, this is who I am and I'm very okay with it. So critical thinking is another important component, understanding what the world is, right? From why is there a Israel-Hamas conflict, why Russia truly went and attacked Ukraine, what is the South China Sea issue? Why is it a flashpoint between US and China? So a lot of global perspectives, lot of personal understanding of who am I as a person, and critical thinking, problem solving, decision making, conflict management, negotiation tactics is what the overall focus of the program is. That's the
Right.
second program, leadership coaching.
Leadership.
First 2 3 modules are really about diving deep and understanding who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Why do you operate the way that you do, and what is the success persona required in the outside world?
That's beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah. The
Right.
third program is again a year-long program called Mastering English program.
Mhm.
And this is a very, very specific skill-based program, which is agnostic of any board. I have students in the same batch coming from an IB board, an IGCSE Cambridge board, an ICSE board, a CBSE board, and even a state board. Same batch, similar age group. So we'll have grade 5 and 6 together. We'll have grade 7 and 8 together. We'll have grades 9 and 10 together. We'll have grades 11 and 12 together. Same for leadership is for mastering English in terms of the batch cohort. Minimum 3 students, maximum 6 students. The idea is that English as a subject, I personally believe you cannot teach English. Unlike a maths and a science, where you know this is the formula to be used, these are the theories and concepts to be understood, and you go and apply them in school, you go and apply them and reproduce them in different ways in your paper. English will need to be much more art as it is a science. So there are certain rules of grammar, there are certain rules of vocabulary, there are certain rules of sentence structure, syntax, paragraph structure in an essay and letter writing and other things. But apart from that, it's an art how to use words and create magic in the written form, how to interpret certain texts, reading comprehension texts, and understand what is truly the author's point of view. Okay, and more importantly, how to create that curiosity to learn vocabulary, how to create that curiosity to use the right punctuation mark at the right place without becoming a grammar Nazi. We don't want people who are extremely finicky about certain things. But at an operative level, if you want to go and succeed in the world tomorrow, you need to be able to have the good English for people to understand. So the focus is on reading skills, focus is on writing skills, focus is on analysis, and that program has received very good feedback. At
Yes.
least I have heard feedback from parents where I have batches in Australia, I have students from Australia, I have students from UAE, I have student in Norway, I have a student in US, and I have a batch from Hong Kong, a lot of students from India as well. And the overall take is that students have started liking the subject. So that is the most important thing that we need to do. That's the
Yeah,
second program.
I've myself heard some friends who are enrolled with you, and they were all praises for this program. And the difference is seismic. It's amazing. So another thing which I foresee with the advent of social media, people are forgetting how to read,
Yeah.
and with Chat GPT, they will forget how to write. So people who can read and write 20 years from now will be considered very bright. So that's my take. So if you have a child, ensure that you talk to Rahul ji about
So that's the third program, which is Mastering English. The fourth program is personal mentoring, which is one-on-one with the child. The idea is to help child go to the next level. Parents have identified certain area of growth, certain area of improvement, polishing those rough edges, creating the corners slightly more rounded. It could be personal motivation, it could be taking ownership about their own studies, about their own academics, or life in general. It could be punctuality, it could be perhaps weaning them away from non-stop staring at a screen and scrolling on social media and punching those likes. So a lot of things are work. Again, I start from grade 5, goes right up to grade 12. So typically 10 years to about 19 years of age. And I have had different students coming in for personal mentoring also. So if I could summarize, personal mentoring, career counseling are more personalized. They are more one-on-one with outcomes structured around what the parents and the student clearly have articulated and identified. Mastering English and leadership coaching are in group formats where outcomes are more personality development, communication skills development based on leadership coaching, and reading, writing skills at across different formats in Mastering English skills.
it. Great. So very exciting programs, and I wish the more people knew about these, Rahul ji, and they reached out to you. Let me ask you, you work with a lot of young population, and I mean, it's not easy dealing with them. What are the challenges that you face while working with these young individuals?
Okay, so I'll divide this into two parts. One is as a parent, and two is as a coach and a mentor, because the challenges as a parent are slightly different from the challenges as a coach and a mentor.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
because with the parent, there is also the emotional hangover of having grown with the parent, right? With the coach, it is more of the time they are with me.
Mhm.
So I'll talk about the part of the coach and the mentor here.
Mhm.
Uh, so the first challenge really is to get them to focus in that 1.5 hour class and not get distracted by the pop-ups on their screen. It might be a YouTube video, or it might be an Insta pop-up, or a YouTube short. I don't know what they're looking at. Might be playing a game parallelly. So that's the concern, and parents also have that concern that will they concentrate for that session, because I'm talking more of leadership and mastering English year-long programs. Uh, so that is a challenge, but the way to overcome the challenge is the entire program is highly interactive and experiential. So it's not me sitting and sermonizing them and telling them do this, do that. It's they coming to an answer, and my job as a facilitator to nudge them towards that response over a period of time. So that is one real challenge. Second challenge is their attention spans are very, very low.
Oh yes.
Even if
Oh
they
yes.
are with me on screen, their attention spans tend to taper off very quickly. So it's the job of the facilitator, the coach, the mentor, the counselor to ensure that students are glued and clued in by making those shifts, learning shifts during those interactions that we have. That's the second challenge. Third challenge is, at least I face in a few students, is they are so confident in what they answer that I need to scratch below the surface and check whether they have truly believe or done what they've done, because we are in the age of chat GPT, right?
Yeah.
So mastering English, if I ask them to write a book review, I make them read bestsellers, world's bestsellers, appropriate, age appropriate world's bestsellers, and then they come in the class and do book reviews. So some of the book reviews don't connect with what the child's English and personality is in class. Okay. So then a little bit of scratching to the surface, a little bit of telling them without really telling them that, look, you're only fooling yourself because there are no marks you're going to gain over here. So getting them to actually do the job in the way they are expected to do for their own growth is the third challenge. And fourth challenge is really continuity. So they get excited about learning English, 1.5 hour class. If first three are handled and they are excited to sit uninterrupted for that 1.5 hour class, the fourth challenge is to really get them to do the task they are expected to do and come in the class next week. Because too many distractions again, homework from school, they have their own passion projects, athletics, skating, music, some form of athleticism, sports, and of course social life and social media. So getting them to focus on their own personal growth, which is very good for them, is the fourth challenge. The last challenge which I will talk about is, this generation is extremely aware of a lot of things
Oh yes.
because of the exposure to social media. Extremely aware of a lot of things, but what really will work in what particular situation, context, with the nuance, is something that they lack. A lot of confidence while speaking, but when it comes to implementation, it's a little bit of a shaky response. So uh, that's the fourth challenge, which will need to be handled a little more softly with this generation.
Mhm. Okay, now let me ask you something a little more controversial, so to speak. What are the challenges which you face with parents?
So one challenge is what was a historical challenge where parents said, "मेरा बेटा engineer बनेगा या मेरी बेटी डॉक्टर
Oh
बनेगी."
yes.
So
Oh yes. Talk to me about it. Talk to me about it. मेरे 50% कंसल्टेशन यही होता है कि साहब बच्चे को लेट हिम बी हिमसेल्फ और हरसेल्फ, आप
right,
अपना यूपीएससी या स्टेम ऑब्सेशन उस पर ना फेंक मारे. प्लीज
जी,
कंटिन्यू.
जी. So one is so I have had parents who've gone through the entire assessment. We met in the first call. Psychometric assessment clearly states that the student is more of a humanities, social science student, far away from anything to do with the physics and chemistry. The father has come down and told me that ये सब आपका ठीक है रिपोर्ट और ये सब, but मैं चाहता हूँ that आप उसको बोले कि तुझे तो engineering ही करना है, वो भी data science, AI driven engineering, because that is the future. एंड इवेंचुअली मेरे धंधे में उसको लाना है तो थोड़ा बहुत अंडरस्टैंडिंग ये सब का होगा, तो टेक द बिजनेस टू द नेक्स्ट लेवल. So I give them the option. This is the refund. I'm sorry, I don't do this. It is not only disservice to the child's immediate needs, but also his future. And you don't realize how it will come to haunt you 5 years, 10 years.
Oh,
So this is one challenge where the parent is fixated in a particular career path, on a particular career path for the child. And the child has different interests, different personality strengths, aptitudes, emotional quotient, and others. That's first.
I would like to interrupt here and tell you one of my favorite stories. This
Yeah,
happened
yeah.
in real life. There was this bacha who was struggling with science as usual. It's always the science bachas who struggle. I've never seen BA wala bacha in depression or commerce wala. It's always the bloody science. And India is obsessed with science. So I had this fellow, smart young fellow. He was going through Shani. पिताजी
Hmm.
डंडा दे करके नहीं नहीं साइंस पढ़ना.
Hmm.
And finally, when his Shani Dasha ended, he rebelled and he said,
Hmm.
to hell with science. He went there, enrolled for an English literature degree. He topped the university, gold medal, some university in MP. So that is where Indian parents need to evolve. कि बस कुदरत ने खास तरीके से बनाया है आपके बच्चे को. Nature has created him in a different way. Not every child can go to IIT, IIM, then become an IAS. Sorry, Indian parents, that's not happening. So you need to nurture the way your child is wired, is hardwired by nature. You cannot motivate a fish to fly.
Great analogy there, sir. Great analogy. So that's one set of parents which you've also been facing. The other set of parent is the other extreme. You've identified these career options. I respect you for your professionalism. I know I've heard things about you, so you will tell me exactly what is best for my child. ये आपको बच्चा हमने सौंप दिया. I am a hands-off parent. Now you take him through his entire career trajectory and journey. You just tell me, I'll send me your billing and I will keep doing it. That's the other extreme.
Sleeping
But
partners. But still, I think a parent's involvement can never be replaced.
So this is the second set of parents.
Mhm.
There's a third set of parents who expect a magic wand.
Yeah.
कि भाई हम आपके पास आए हैं, आप बच्चे को लीडरशिप कोचिंग करोगे, मास्टरिंग इंग्लिश करोगे, you will do career counseling, you do personal mentoring, but at the end of it, I want the child to be something else. So they want a camel to convert into a zebra. They want an introvert to become an extrovert. They want different things. So which thankfully I understand early on, and I tell them very clearly, there is no magic wand. There are no careers where जैसे बोलते हैं एस्ट्रोलॉजिकली 36 गुण मिल गए या 32 गुण मिल गए शादी कर लो. There are no careers in the world like this.
Yeah.
It's a journey. I am with you in your journey. Okay. But it's a journey of moving closer and closer to the right career option. And we will take certain steps which will validate our decision as we progress in the journey. So be it careers, be it English, be it leadership, be it mentoring. So three spectrums of parents. I exactly know what I want. I want you to be the mouthpiece. Second extreme is you know what my child wants. You take it over. Essentially, you become the parent. I'm outsourcing it to you. The other parent is I want magic to happen because this is not what my child can be, or this is not what my social standing suggests my child can be. So I need to change that. These are the three broad challenges as of now. Yeah.
So for the record, Guna Milan sucks. It's the worst way of matching charts. If Guna Milan worked, there would be zero divorces in Hindu arrangement. And this is the one which is taking maximum heat. If you look at the news, it's always a Hindu arranged marriage which has gone to the top. So I didn't want this to be an astrology video, but just since it has come out, there is something known as synastry where you map horoscope to horoscope. ये लगना है, ये planet इधर बैठा है, moon इस side में. How would the entire two charts would interact with each other? That is how to individually interact. Guna Milan is a very nasty, dirty shortcut. I don't know who the hell came with it. And it has created some of the most misery in the world. So anyways, मेरा अंदर का astrologer बाहर आ जाता. Sorry. Great. Now, how does your approach to education differ from traditional schooling?
Right. So traditional schooling, to a large extent, are a hangover of the industrial age, where it was a cookie cutter approach. You needed to produce people who could fit into a particular system, particular way of functioning. And that was the requirement. When machines came in, you needed standardized processes, standardized systems, very much a requirement at that point of time. Some schools have moved ahead, but largely the way students are evaluated marks. So essentially the schooling system is still a very marks-based, marks-focused approach. And as one of the stand-up comedians says, in India we call it marks because it leaves an indelible mark on your character for life. My programs essentially are about helping them look at real life. Schooling is not an end in itself. You're doing it. University is not an end in itself. You're doing it because eventually you're going to go and function and focus in real life. So what is it that real life demands? So the softer aspects of your being, the life skills as we call it, are the focus areas. There are no marks to gain. There is only personal growth, personal success, personal development that you're looking at. I tell them there's no shortcut that you'll memorize this and you'll reproduce in your paper and you'll get marks. And there's nobody to impress over here. You're not going to be getting accolades and claps for 10,000 people when you're performing on a stage. This is all about you. This is all about development. Whatever we are doing will lead to those things that will later come. But the focus is on getting your foundation level skills, foundation level personality, foundation level communication. Most importantly, your awareness about yourself in place. So in this age of AI and chat GPT, where information and even data and input and perhaps to some extent knowledge is going to be readily available on the cell phone now. Forget about laptops or iPads. Going to be available on the iPhones and the Androids. What is going to be differing and important is going to be one, critical thinking skills. What is the information or data that I use to get to from point A to point B? Second is going to be decision making skills. And third is going to be EQ being greater than IQ. If you have to write a math equation, emotional quotient or empathy, to be very, summarizing the entire EQ bucket into one, saying empathy or generalizing it as empathy, is going to be more and more important than IQ. Because the IQ or the memorizing side of things to a large extent is already taken over by the machines.
Mhm.
Interaction with humans, how do you deal in teams, how do you take decisions, and how are you good at very crisp and clear critical thinking skills is going to be of utmost importance is what I, so that is what the focus area is. All programs are more exploratory in nature. All programs are what else can I do, thinking out of the box, lateral thinking, because again these are the skills that are going to be, I believe, personally believe, these are the skills that are going to come in very handy and more of a necessity than a anything else in years to come.
So, what are some of the tools, exercises, or activities that you use in order to help the children to find what they're good at and then improve that?
So on the career counseling side, it's very clear there are psychometric assessments that I'm using. Uh, on the leadership coaching side, I have incorporated locus of control, which helps them understand where his or her locus of control is. I've incorporated Johari window. These are all, and of course, a lot of other interventions are there. In integrative thinking module, we take them through ethical dilemmas and moral questions. So the entire discussion is on a case study format.
Mhm.
So, for example, a case is given that my value system is copying is completely wrong. I will never copy in exams. I see my best friend sitting on a bench near me. He is copying in his maths paper. The invigilator is not really looking at him or anyone. What is going to be my course of action? Okay. I know if he doesn't copy, he's going to flunk the test. So leadership coaching is more of a case study based, discussion based outcome that we do. Apart from a lot of tried and tested tests, which can be administered at students as young as 10 years, 11 years, 12 years, 15 years, so on and so forth.
Mhm.
Personal mentoring, I do various interventions. Again, a lot of them have been structured by me. And because that is completely case to case basis, each student that needs to come in. We do Eisenhower matrix, time management
Mhm.
matrix, urgent, important. I have seen great results coming from students with very basic introduction of certain models or concepts. Same thing you tell them in a plain vanilla way, and same thing you put it in a model and tell them, and the understanding, interpretation, and therefore the outcomes, course of action from them is very different.
Great. So, this one is important. What are some great career options people don't even know about?
Sir, there are more than 77,000 career options that any student can look at. This is not what I am saying. This is US labor statistics data that
Mhm.
suggests 77,000 plus careers. In India, typically, we are looking at engineer, doctor,
Doctor,
CA, uh,
IAS.
IAS also, yes, lawyer. यहाँ पे गाड़ी खत्म हो जाती. But there are a lot of new age careers with extremely promising growth potential, success, and return on investment for parents and students. One is in this age of chat GPT and AI, prompt engineer. You need to know exactly what kind of a question to ask to the AI to get the kind of response and the output that you want. And the more curated, the more sharp, the more clear your question is, the faster and clearer and crisper answer will be from the algorithm for you. One of the highest paid professions as of today is prompt engineers.
Wow.
Okay, it's the coming together of English language and literature and large language models, which is a little bit on the programming and the engineering side of things. But English language and becomes an operative premise for the person to succeed over here within
That's
the engineering domain.
that's a big change.
Yeah.
That's
Another one is ethical hacking.
Mhm.
So we've heard of hackers, but what if you can make a profession out of it where you ethically hack a system to know what are the vulnerabilities, to know what attack could be there, so that you can take preemptive measures to stop that kind of attack happening on your system.
Mhm. Okay.
On the soft on the design side of things, I think graphics and video editing. Uh, I There is so much of need of good graphics artists, video editing people in the world, and there is enough and more work I can see coming over here. So design as a career can also be something that can be looked at both full time as a freelance. Uh, I don't know how many parents know this. Very renowned institutions, IIT Bombay has a full 4 year full time program in Bachelor's of Design.
Mhm.
Okay, there are four IITs, triple ITs who have started a full-fledged 4 year program in design called Bachelor's of Design. So that is another area which can be looked at. Very promising. Typically, on the finance side, we used to look at a CA, CFA, CMA, ACC, and other things. Actuaries has made a big uh, uh, entry in that space, and actuaries is one of the highest paid professions in the country as of now. Okay,
Mhm.
people who manage the risk.
Yeah.
Insurance is the starting point. Their applicability is across various industries. So actuaries is another area we could look at. Food technology.
Mhm.
With India developing so fast, the infrastructure being developed so quickly across various highways and other things, cold chain is going to become a big investment area. And how are we going to transport food in let's say a truck which has a cold storage from one place to another? What kind of equipments, what kind of formulations, so understanding of biology, chemistry, interplay of those is going to become very big. It's already big. I see it growing very big in future. One more is blockchain architect. Blockchain is looks like the future of fintech going ahead.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of coming together of different areas, different siloized areas are no longer just a siloized or a compartmentalized. मैं सिर्फ biology करूंगा, मैं सिर्फ commerce करूंगा, मैं सिर्फ sociology करूंगा. There's a lot of coming together, and if I can take your question one step ahead and say what are the universities where a student can look at these kinds of programs, a lot of liberal arts, liberal sciences universities have come up in the last decade in India, and they are doing a good job of an interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary learning approach right from grade 12.
Okay, so Rahul, this brings me to another question. With the rise of AI, a lot of old jobs are going to disappear. As an ex-HR person, I can still see that. What do you think the future holds for Gen Alpha and the young kids who will come into the labor force with CEOs wanting 90 hours of work and whatnot? So, with the rise of AI, how do we plan the career of our children?
Okay, so nobody knows how the world is going to pan out in the next 5 years. When I say nobody, really nobody knows as of today. I've been talking to a lot of people. Yesterday, I attended my 25th year Silver Jubilee felicitation for in my MBA class. I spoke to a few people, and everybody is doing very well in their careers. But 5 years down the line, we don't know where the world is going. So in this, what we call as a VUCA world, okay, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world that we are going to look at more and more in future, the best bet is to get the basic building blocks of any career in place. Okay, so go and pick up a stream, go and pick up a career choice. but be ready that you'll have to either move into a different direction or upgrade after a few years. So, what are the basic building blocks? We come back to critical thinking, decision making, teamwork, empathy are going to be the what we call as the operative skills, and hard skills still remain the same. Command and control over reading and writing, which is English, and arithmetic, which is basic maths, is going to be very important in whichever place you go to. So, hard skills in English and maths and human skills across these 4 5 areas is the combination which will keep you engaged to go ahead. Two more things I will add: the ability to unlearn what you already learned.
Mhm.
Okay, it might sound very cliched, but trust me, that is the name of the game today.
Yes.
What was true and right 10 years back is no longer true, and in fact proven to be false. This is not the way to operate. There's something new to go to. So ability to unlearn and then relearn something completely new. Basis that.
Yeah.
So that agile learning mind is something that's going to be very important no matter what age group.
So let's talk about your biggest achievements.
Sure. So, sir, these are not my achievements. I do my job. Students already have them in them. I'm just being a catalyst in bringing it out for them. So I have a student who's in Sharjah. She's been with me for 3 years now. She joined in grade 5 for leadership coaching. Grade 6, she joined for English mentoring program. Extremely gifted child in terms of art, in terms of drawing, in terms of oration, but struggled in terms of her reading and analysis and punctuation and sentence structure skills. December, she shared with me, December 2025. I was very happy to know that last year in my term 2 test, sorry, unit test 2, she had scored 85 in English out of 100. She was a CBSE child in Sharjah. This year, she scored a 95 on 100 in
Wow.
English.
Wow.
So, quantitative change that has happened over here.
Mhm.
That is on the English side. On the leadership coaching side, there was a student who joined me in grade 6. Then he's been with me for mastering English for 2 years. Personal mentoring, he's been with me now. And the parents have seen a drastic shift and change in terms of his overall desire to pick up things. So he was an introverted child who was also shy. So
Mhm.
introversion is a perfectly all right personality to have. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with that. But shyness that comes with introversion, lot of opportunities that could come to the person go by.
Yeah.
So the idea was to make him very comfortable with who he was, and we worked on him in different ways. He started picking up opportunities to do various things. He acted in a school play, which he would have never done earlier.
Of course.
He's gone and I gave some exercise where he had to meet 50 people and get responses from them, a lot of other things. So he's become a much more open child, much more amiable child with other people around, who was sitting in a corner. So that's on the leadership coaching and personal mentoring side of things. Career counseling, I had a student coming from Baruch who was hell bent on doing computer science. uh, I counseled him, met the parents. Everything was done online because of Baruch, and convinced them. And finally, right now, the student is doing his second year of liberal arts in Flame University. Started pursuing CFA. He's an out and out entrepreneur, Marwadi blood.
Mhm.
I knew this is where he's going to go, and that's what I finally told him. And parents and him are very very happy with that. That's on the career counseling side. Uh, Leadership coaching and mastering English, lots and lots of parents have come back and said we've seen a shift happening in the comfort and the confidence the child has had in different areas.
Great. What are your top three advice you would give to general parents?
Number one is let your child be. Okay. Your child is somebody who's born with a unique set of aptitude. The personality and interest evolves over a period of time. Give the child space to breathe, give the child space to be himself, herself. Please don't compare your child with. It is no longer Sharma ji ka beta. It is about a Facebook and Instagram post now. Instagram पे देखो ये कर रहा है, Facebook पे वो कर रहा है. So why don't you also do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Please don't. That is the first. Second is simply because somebody else has gone to a university in US, an Ivy League university in US, does not mean that your child needs to do it the same way and you keep blindly following the footsteps of the child. This connects back to what I'm saying, that each child has a unique personality, aptitude, trait, and the maturity of the child might come at the age of 16, might come at the age of 18, might come at the age of 25.
Agree.
Give him time, her time to live and breathe. Do look at opportunities and options for your child to get the right support in terms of coaches and mentors outside of pure academics. And please come out of this rut of marks, percentages, and scores. They are a relic of a bygone era. Uh, what will matter, and truly what will matter going ahead, are critical thinking, decision making, emotional quotient, and team play. Ji sir.
I often ask parents one question. Whenever they come to me with a chat, and of course, I have my own set of rules. कि ये बच्चा ये करेगा, ये करेगा. Most of the times, I get it right. So I often ये पढ़ता नहीं है, इसके marks नहीं आ रहे, स्कूल को लेके serious नहीं. My only question is, Google it and tell me कि पहले क्या बना, पहले schools बने या पहले factories बने. That will answer a lot of things. They wanted to produce a feeder for their factories. Then they came up with something known as the school. तो इसको जो हमने विद्या का मंदिर बना रखा, भाई नहीं है विद्या के मंदिर. This is a bloody feeder factory and an outdated one. 50 साल पहले वालों को जॉब्स तो मिल जाती थी, आज के सारे घूम रहे हैं. So people need to understand. Okay. So great. I am so happy that we did it. I am going to put it on my channel. And I'm sure a lot of parents want to contact you. How can they contact you?
So they can connect with me, send a WhatsApp message on the number, or they can email me. My email ID is grow@rahulzaveri.com. Or you can call me directly. Calling or WhatsApp number is, yeah, it's on the screen.
Thank you, Rahul. You are doing an amazing job, and thank you for coming today. And I wish you all the best. And I think I wish we had more people like you who could save an entire generation.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, sir, and truly honored to be a part of your journey over here. Thank you so much. Thank you for this.
Namaskar.